We're going to go back to the previous year to get a little bit more context to the NBA in 1990. And a major change that would shape NBA broadcasting for years to come, the NBA on CBS ended after a run of 17 years. It was followed by the NBA on NBC and the best sports theme ever. Doesn't that just give you the chills? With the new broadcast partnership settled, this season began with major championship aspirations for a few teams. The Pistons were coming off a second straight finals appearance and their first ever championship over Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers. Johnson was MVP in '89 and looked to continue a run of dominance that had the Lakers appear at 8 of the previous 10 finals. Before we get to the playoffs, there are a few key performances to recognize this season, the first of which takes us down to Phoenix, where we have a strange but really good Suns team led by 6'10 power forward Tom Chambers. Chambers was known as the first unrestricted free agent signee in NBA history, but added another accolade to his record when he faced his former team. Tom was bothered by the Supersonics' treatment of him, and he felt he was taken for granted. So he took this game as an opportunity to exact some revenge on his former team. Chambers was a bucket, already putting out a 56-point game earlier in the season and also multiple 40-point games. Tom was locked in and tallied 60 points without attempting a single three-pointer. He held the Suns' record for most points in a game until 27 years later Devin Booker broke his record with a 70-point game. Not to be outdone, Karl Malone had a revenge game of his own. Malone was well known as the mailman, and you know why? Because he always delivered. Well, except for in the NBA Finals. Anyways, Malone was bothered by a snub on the All-Star starting lineup. As how many of these games go, the Lakers had such a hold on the league that All-Star voters voted in AC Green into the starting lineup. Having won the previous year's All-Star Game MVP, Malone contemplated not even playing in the game. He decided to show up to Miami, but decided not to play because of an injury. The Bucks wished that Malone had an injury as they were getting taken to the woodshed by Malone, as he made 82% of his shots and tallied 61 points in only 33 minutes. They won the game by 48 points, and to make things better for Malone, AC Green missed all 3 of his attempts in the All-Star Game and was the only player in the All-Star Game to finish with a whopping 0 points. You know who never scored 0 points? Michael Jordan. In another classic matchup, the Bulls faced the Cavs as they were in the process of solidifying another playoff berth. The way Jordan treated Cleveland, you would have thought they would have smacked his mother. Actually, they cheered Jordan, but not because they liked him. According to Jordan himself, the reason why he went crazy this game was due to Cavs fans cheering a potential injury after a particularly hard hit by Hot Rod John Williams. He felt they would rather win at the expense of the players' health, so he paid them back in the only way he knew how. In a ridiculously efficient night, Jordan scored 69 points and sealed the win in overtime. As the season wrapped up, the Eastern Conference was led by the Pistons, Bulls, and Sixers. The Western Conference had the Lakers again, along with the Blazers and Spurs. In a major turnaround, the Spurs drastically improved their win total led by rookie David Robinson. The major upset of the playoffs came when the Phoenix Suns beat the Lakers for the first time ever in the playoffs. This ended an 8-year run of the Lakers making the Western Conference Finals. On the other side of the bracket, the Bulls and Pistons had another epic battle that went to 7 games. Ultimately, the Pistons won this battle, but would end up losing this war with Jordan and the Bulls. As noted in The Last Dance, one of the best sports documentaries ever, Jordan said that he cried on the team bus because he was devastated about coming up a game short of reaching the finals. His father, James, came on the bus and told him to forget about the loss and gear up for next season, which turned out to be one for the history books. A very solid Trailblazers team led by Clyde Drexler advanced to the finals for the first time in 13 years to face the bad boy Pistons. In Game 1, the Blazers led by double digits late in the game and looked to steal one on the road. After a timeout, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars mounted a comeback that finalized as Thomas hit a dagger with under 2 minutes to go to give the Pistons the win. In Game 2, the Pistons held a 3-point lead with under a minute to go. Isaiah Thomas looked to clinch the game but missed a layup. Terry Porter tied the game with 10 seconds left, but once again, the Blazers fought back and took the lead as Isaiah Thomas fouled out. Bill Laimbeer apparently had the clutch gene, as he had a 3-pointer to take the lead with 4 seconds to go. And what do you do when the game is on the line? You give the ball to your best player. Drexler was fouled by Rodman, who had been playing on a sore ankle with 2 seconds left. Drexler made both shots to seal the win. Rodman would miss Game 3, but it wouldn't matter as the Pistons dominated after a solid performance from Vinnie Johnson and Joe Dumars. In a sad turn of events, Dumars' wife used a courtside phone to inform Joe that his father had passed. While declining press interviews, he did decide that he would play the next game. The hot shooting from the game before escaped the Pistons early in Game 4. Portland took the lead, but Dumars and Johnson found their touch for the game before and battled back. That combined with stifling defense led to a halftime lead for the Pistons. Isaiah Thomas took over after halftime and scored 22 points in the third quarter to take a 16-point lead. Buck Williams blew an opportunity to tie the game from the free throw line but was bailed out by Clyde Drexler as they regained possession. He sank both free throws to give them the lead. Thomas then hit a jump shot to take the lead back, and with 9 seconds left, Portland drove to the basket but was sealed off by Dumars. Thomas picked up the loose ball and took off for the other end. Channeling his inner Chris Paul, he chucked the ball towards the basket from over 50 feet away as he was getting fouled. Incredibly, the shot went in. But ref's gonna ref again, and they didn't count the basket. After trading free throws, Gerald Henderson made a wide open layup to give Detroit another 3-point lead. Portland got the ball with 1.3 seconds to go, but because this is the wild world of sports, we end up getting what is possibly the craziest ending in any NBA Finals game. Danny Young received a pass at half court, took 2 dribbles, and hoisted a shot that perfectly swished to tie the game. Players from both teams came onto the court arguing both ways. Obviously, Blazers players and coaches signaled to count the basket, while the Pistons were arguing the shot was too late. Veteran referee Earl Strom, who was calling his final NBA game, huddled the officials together who finally came to the decision that the shot was in fact too late. The Blazers battled through Game 5 as they fought to keep the series going. They led the game late until everyone's favorite cousin Vinny led the Pistons to a 9-0 run. His last shot was the most clutch of the series. With the game tied at 90 with 20 seconds to go, Isaiah Thomas drove and tried to open up a shot for himself. He kicked it out to Johnson, who took 2 dribbles, nearly falls, then hits a game-winning shot over some really good defense by Jerome Kersey. The Pistons win their second championship, both back-to-back, with Isaiah Thomas winning Finals MVP. This marked the Pistons' last championship before their miracle run of 2004. As the season closed, Magic Johnson was awarded the league's MVP. This was the third and final time he would win this illustrious award. This year marked the end of an era as Pat Riley resigned as Lakers head coach. There were a few key offseason additions too, as the Lakers added Sam Perkins and the Mavericks signed Alex English. The glove, Gary Payton, headlined this year's draft class, taken second overall to the Seattle Supersonics. Man, nicknames used to be a lot cooler than they are now. Quite possibly the most underrated move of this offseason was a second-round selection in the draft. As part of the new wave of European talent coming overseas, Chicago took forward Tony Kukoc with the 29th pick overall. This selection, while not providing an immediate impact, would prove invaluable in the years to come with the Bulls dynasty.